For this craft, you'll need to gather scissors, a glue stick, a pencil, and some scrapbook paper in different colors. If you don't have scrapbook paper, you can use old gift wrap. Our first step is to take 2 pieces of color that we want to use for our cat's face. We're going to line them up, and I flip them over so it'll be easier to see where I've drawn on the back. Then I'm going to draw a heart, where I draw one side of the heart on one piece of paper and the other side of the heart on the other piece of paper. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now I'm going to cut both of these halves of a heart out. We'll use those 2 halves to make the cat's face, but for now set them aside. For our next piece, we're going to take a different color paper, and on the back I'm going to draw a triangle shape, kind of like a long ice cream cone shaped triangle. And you want that to be about the same size as your heart, same height. And then I'm going to round the corners of my triangle so that they're not pointy, but they have a nice little curve to them. And then we're going to cut that triangle shape out. My triangle shape will eventually become the center of the cat's face, down to the nose. Just kind of like this. But for now, we're going to set these pieces aside. Next, pick patterns of paper that you want to use for the cat's ears. Again, you're going to flip the paper over and draw a little triangle shape, smaller than the one we used for the face. And then I'm going to draw a curve to the bottom of my triangle and cut those ears out as well. Now I've got 2 cat ears. My cat's face is starting to come together. Before we go on to our next step, let's learn 5 interesting facts about cats. Let's get back to our collage. Clear the other pieces aside. It's time to make the eyes of our cat. You should use a light colored paper for this. Fold the paper like this, and then you're going to draw your eye shape. Just like that. If you leave the paper folded while you cut, you'll have 2 eyes that match. Like this. Now I'm going to set one aside and use the other and a dark color piece of paper to make the outline of the cat's eye. This will help the eye stand out against the face of the cat. So again, fold your paper, lay the eye shape that you just cut down, and trace around it, but not right up against the edge. Trace around it to make a larger eye than the eye shape that you cut out. And then cut that eye out. Now I have 2 large shaped eyes and 2 smaller shaped eyes that I can lay just like this. To make the pupil of the eye, again, you'll use dark paper and draw 2 small, narrow triangle shapes, like that, and then cut those out. These small triangles will make the slit-like pupils in the cat's eye. The last part of the cat's face that we need to cut out is the nose. Again, I'm going to use dark paper, and this time I'm going to draw another triangle, but sort of a low, wide one. There's my nose. Now that we have all the pieces, it's time to start gluing. I'm using a background paper that's a little bit of a contrast with the other colored papers I chose. The first thing we're going to glue down are those two heart shapes. Just use the glue stick on the back of your paper. And we'll set down our heart so that it sort of spreads apart like a broken heart, like this. Once we have both sides glued down, we're going to find that big triangle piece that makes the center of our cat's face and glue that right over the gap that we've made between the two sides of the heart. Just like this. Next, we're going to glue down our two ears. We'll do the eyes next, starting with the dark background of the eye, and then the light colored smaller part of the eye, and last, those triangle pupils we cut out. Now we're going to add the nose. Our cat face is almost complete. The last touch is whiskers. I used some light colored paper and just cut thin little strips off the edge. Gather the strips together and cut them in half. Now you've got your whiskers. Glue your whiskers down by adding your glue to the background paper rather than the tiny strips of whisker. And just like that, our cat is complete.